Hello, sports fans. Welcome to the Sports Story College Football Edition. Today, we're going to talk about ways to fix FBS football. With everything that is going on, all the bowl games, all the NIL, the transfer portal, things need to change. Conferences are expanding. So let's just get it done. Let's go ahead and check out what the Sports Story plan is. First off, we're going to have 6 conferences. The SEC, the Big Ten, and the Big 12 will be the power conferences that survive. The other 3 conferences, you can just call them whatever you want. I happen to choose the American, the Sun Belt, and the Mountain West. So we're going to have 6 conferences. Every conference has 24 teams. We're divided into 6 pods, 6 divisions, 4 divisions, 4 pods, whatever you want to call it. There's going to be 6 teams in a pod or division, and we will explain how we're going to do the season here in just a moment. With this whole idea of changing everything, there will be no transfer portal. The players will become employees. They will have to have contracts. They could have 2-year contracts, 1-year contracts, whatever them and the team decide. More than likely, it's going to be a multi-year contract. These teams are investing in these athletes. They are expecting them to be there. The athletes do bring in money to the school, and they want to get money off of their investment. So I think we are headed towards contracts anyway. So let's just go ahead and get it done. If we eliminate the transfer portal, we have nobody leaving before the bowl games. And we have players sticking around ready to play. NIL will not change much. You will still have NIL. You can go out just like a professional athlete can and do what you need to do with the NIL. Nothing changes there. The regular season will change. We will have an 11-game regular season, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. And then we will have a 2 weeks of teams playing in a conference playoff type situation. Bowl games will not go away as of right now. If the idea is to keep bowl games for other teams to be able to participate in, we will keep the bowl game system in place. There will be set playoff criteria. There will not be this, well, this team has a better recruiting class, therefore they should get in. We know that they lost 3 games, but their recruiting class is really good. Recruiting classes have been really good, and therefore they are more talented and they should be in. Wins and losses should matter. It should not make any difference. Wins and losses should matter. And so we will have a playoff criteria that is in place. There won't be any of this, well, they have 4 losses, but they're the more talented team and they should be in. Starting off here with the SEC. We have our regular SEC schools, the schools that were there in the first place, and then we are going to be adding in Pittsburgh, West Virginia, Virginia, Louisville, Virginia Tech, Clemson, North Carolina State. These will end up making up the 24-team SEC. People are going to look at this and go, well, yeah, but that one group has Pittsburgh, West Virginia, Kentucky, Virginia, Louisville, Virginia Tech. It's kind of a weak conference or weak division. Yes, it does, but with the system that I would put in place, it's not going to make any difference as to really, other than just playing games out, it's not going to make any difference as to their divisions, because you could have multiple teams make the playoffs from a division within a conference. With the Big Ten, I added Kansas from the Big 12. I had Arizona and Utah from the Big 12. I also added Notre Dame, obviously from the ACC, Florida State, and Miami from the ACC. So now we would have our 24-team Big 12. Again, people would look at this and go, well, the one division or the 2 divisions in this are pretty weak. Things will play out as the season goes on. In an 11-game season with 2 playoff games within the conference, everything would play out. you would get the teams in the playoff, the national playoff, that would belong. And so this would be our setup for the Big Ten. Our Big 12 conference, we would have Washington State, Oregon State, Memphis, Tulane added to the Big 12. We would have SMU come into this conference. Stanford would come in. Arizona State would come in. They're coming in anyway. California would come in. Georgia Tech, Duke, Boston College, Connecticut, and Syracuse rounded out with teams that they have lost going to the Big 2. This gives us our 24-team Big 12 conference. We then have our Sun Belt Conference, where we have a mix of teams from CUSA and Sun Belt. So in the American, we have this is the American Conference, or whatever you want to call it, the MAC, whatever you choose to call it. It's a little bit of a mixture of everything. The one thing that we do note here is there are some FCS schools that are being brought up to make sure that we have 24 teams in every conference. Northern Iowa is the team that is brought up in this division, or this conference. Wake Forest gets stuck in this conference. They're the only Power 5 school that I have right now that would be placed in a conference such as this, simply because there's like 40 teams in North Carolina, and so Wake Forest gets put here. They will have the opportunity to make the playoffs, just like everybody else. And then we have our Mountain West Conference. Obviously, teams in the West here, made up of the Mountain West. There are some teams that are coming from other conferences here: Texas, San Antonio, North Texas, Rice, and Tulsa, all coming in. And then you have the FCS schools that are coming in: North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Montana State, Idaho, and Eastern Washington, all coming in here to round out our Western Conference. So we have 6 conferences, 24 teams. Everybody has the same number of teams, plays the same number of games. There is no out-of-conference games here, as we will explain here in just a second. You will have all conference games, nothing outside. The conferences are now big enough that you do not necessarily need to play an out-of-conference game to make sure that you are filling your season up. So here is what we have. In our regular season, you have 5 games within your division. You would then play 2 teams from each of the other divisions in your conference. So that gives you a total of 11 games. This gives you the opportunity to play all teams in the conference, home and home, every 6 years. So this would bring in a little bit more being able to see teams, through the season. There's times now that we have conferences where teams don't see each other for like 7 years. Why that's happening, I do not know. It shouldn't be. If you're in a conference, play each other. And this is going to be where conferences are going to be playing each other. Every game's going to matter because you need to win to make the playoffs. And just because you win your division doesn't mean you make the playoffs. Games 12 and 13 on the season, you're going to have a tournament. The top seeds will be playing against each other. So the top teams in each of the divisions will play against one another. The winners of the first 2 games within that division will play for the conference championship. The conference champion automatically qualifies for the national playoffs. Automatically, they will be put in. The losers of those conferences will also be playing for 3rd and 4th place. This is going to be important because everybody's going to have 13 games on the season. And a loss here in this 3-4 game, if you only have 1 loss on the season and now you're playing in this loser's game, and then you get a loss again, that's 2 losses. That's going to hurt you in the chances of making the national playoffs. People are going to go, well, yeah, but there's going to be good teams left out. If you win your games, which is the important, win your games, and you will be in. We will do the same thing for second through sixth place. So the second place teams in each division will play in a semi small tournament. The teams will play. You'll be seeded. Teams with the best record. Maybe you look at head to head to seed teams, because it's possible that they could have played one another. So second through sixth place will also be playing these in these type of situations. This is to have everybody have 13 games. So if you have a second and a third place team, maybe you have 3 teams in a division that only have 1 loss. They are not eliminated from making the national tournament. This allows them the opportunity to have the same number of games as everybody else. And so if they go on and maybe one division has all 3 teams, a second and a third place team that ends up winning their semi tournament, their small tournament here in the conference, and so now you have 3 teams with 1 loss from one conference, they're going to get into the national tournament or national playoffs, simply because 1 loss, there's not going to be a lot of 1-loss teams out there. So this second through sixth place is going to be important. Doing the same thing with them as you do with the top seeds. Everybody gets 13 games. So our playoff, we're going to have 6 conference champions. There will be 10 at large. Wins and losses are going to matter. The first thing you look at is obviously teams that are undefeated, have won their conference championship, and are in. 1-loss teams will be the first teams that get looked at to be placed into this tournament. Rarely will you have a team that is not good that is going to be placed in here. You will have good teams that are placed in. And if you've lost 2 or 3 or 4 games, you should be eliminated. You have the opportunity within your conference to go ahead and be good enough to play for a national championship, especially with the limitation of only having 16 teams in the tournament. Now, if you want to expand it out to 32 or 24 or something like that and add more teams, then you're going to start having some 3 and 4 loss teams in that are going to be placed in there. But I feel that you had the opportunity with your season to win games, and with wins and losses, there's no question about who's better, who had the stronger schedule, who did this, who had that. Wins and losses should matter. It should be the most important thing. If we happen to have a tie, we can go to strength of record to take a look at who is going to be getting into the national playoff. I know that this is something that you start looking at things and you start saying this team's better than that team. It needs to be settled on the field. And again, wins and losses should matter. And then we can do something like point differential, something that to as our third criteria to get into the playoffs, because you have to some way come up with a way to have a tiebreaker system. So you should have something set up so we have 3 or 4 different criteria as to how you get in. But wins and losses are going to be the most important thing. No matter what happens through the season, wins and losses will matter. The bowl games, there'll be 35 bowl games between December 8th and January 1st. If we were to do this for the 2024-2025 season, we would have, the 2025 season, we would have the first round, and first round is going to begin sometime around December 7th. Somewhere around December 13th, 14th, somewhere in there, you're going to have your quarterfinals. With first rounds all being on the campus, if we're keeping the bowls involved, the Fiesta, the Peach, the Rose, and the Sugar, or whatever combination of these would be your quarterfinals. Your semifinals would be somewhere around December 21st with the Orange and the Cotton, and then for the national title would be on January 1st all the time. Season ends January 1st. Then if we want to say, okay, well, we're going to have somewhat of a sort of transfer portal based on contracts and things like that, then you could do something there where athletes can leave after January 1st. So if we were to take a look at our season, here's just an example of how we could do this. The first week is somewhere around August 23rd, somewhere around there, somewhere in that area, with the second week being there, obviously, in August also. So right there, you're going to have somewhere in that area, you're going to have about 2 games in August, potentially. As we go through this, you have September, October, November. The final week, going to have 13 weeks to play 11 games. It'll end up somewhere around November 15th. Right around in that area is where we would have the final regular season game. So you'd have 11 games in 13 weeks that you could play. The conference semifinals would be played that following week, with the conference finals played on the following week after that. The idea here is we get everything done before December starts as far as the regular season, and our conferences. We'll have our conference champion. Everybody, all the second place teams will have played, the third place, and so on. So then we are set to start our playoffs. Then we have in December, we would have the playoffs with round 1 on campus, somewhere around the December 6th area, right in that area there. Depending on, the year and so on, you would start that December 6th. The bowl games start right around December 8th, somewhere in that second week of December, with 2 bowl games every day, with the exception of Sunday, and then a Saturday in there where we do not have any bowl games. And with the 3 big, or there are 6 big bowl games, older bowl games: the Independence Bowl, the Holiday Bowl, the Alamo Bowl, the Gator Bowl, Liberty Bowl, and the Sun Bowl would all be played on the 29th and 30th, where you would have 3 games on those days. Nothing on New Year's Eve. So you have this all set up here. Again, somewhere around the 12th, 13th, that second week in December, you're going to have your quarterfinals with your bowl games: the Fiesta, the Peach, the Sugar, the Rose, the Cotton, the Orange, however they have it set up. The rotation could be done. Then the week of the 20th, you would have the semifinals for the national playoff, with the 2 bowl games being the kind of the catalyst behind that. And then closing out the FBS season, we would have the national championship on January 1st, along with the Citrus Bowl also be played on the 1st. So there'll be 2 games on the 1st, and the Citrus Bowl closes out the bowl season. That'll be played in the afternoon. National championship game would be played in the evening. Again, everybody gets to see it. It's not a Monday when people have to go to work. It is done. College football is done on January 1st. Everybody has a chance and an opportunity to make it. With this system, is it perfect? No, but I think it's a start. It's a system that allows everybody a chance to make it to the playoffs, and it also is a way to have some criteria set so for teams to make playoffs. Again, wins and losses matter. If you lose, that's on you. Don't lose. Don't lose. Going undefeated in a regular season, anybody should have the opportunity to play in a tournament to be a champion. FBS has been the only sport that has not done that has kept teams out when they go undefeated. It's just something that shouldn't be done. If you're going to have these teams in your division, then you need to have them, give them the opportunity to participate and a chance to win a championship. The elite have just kind of put a stranglehold on all of that. I think you would have more fans involved in watching sports because people like to watch the potential of a team that could be an upset. Not only that, I think talent will be spread out. If I'm a coach and I can go in and I can say, hey, we can make the playoffs, you'll be on TV. You won't have to sit behind somebody or split time with somebody going to a big school. You will start here immediately. You will be playing for us. You will have the opportunity to go play in a national tournament, to be a national champion. I think that the talent would be spread out a little more. Things would change a little bit. If we take a look at what's happened to basketball just recently with, obviously Gonzaga has built up a program. Butler, Florida Atlantic just recently. You can get the talent. There's talent out there. It's a matter of getting it spread out and being able to tell a kid, hey, we can get you a shot at a national championship. And not only that, you will be on TV so your family could watch you on TV every week, because I think pretty much every game is on TV every week, so that isn't even an issue anymore. And so people would have the opportunity to watch their kids play if they can't get to games all the time. And so that would change things. So if you like this content, hit the thumbs up button. If you dislike it, hit the thumbs down button. If you have any ideas, any comments about it, leave comments below. Let me know what you think of the idea. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. And so until next time, everybody, stay safe. And as always, peace out.